Just why it should have happened, or why it should have happened, Ghibli have said. Nor perhaps could it even have occurred to him to ask. The thing was, above all, a secret. Something to be preciously concealed. And to that very fact it owed an enormous part of its deliciousness.
Deirdre, perhaps you could tell us what the equator is.
The equator line that goes around the middle of the Earth.
The Earth is wearing a belt, or a sash, or someone drew a line around it?
No, not that. I mean, well...
Did you forget the word imaginary?
Yes.
It was as if, in some delightful way, his secret gave him a fortress, a wall behind which he could retreat in heavenly seclusion.
Moving up to the Arctic Circle, we again enter a zone of perpetual snow.
All he needed to do was to think of that morning, the first one, and then of all the others. Suddenly, for no reason, he had thought of the postman. He remembered the postman. Perhaps there was nothing so odd in that. After all, he heard the postman almost every morning of his life. His heavy boots could be heard clumping round the corner at the bottom of the little hill street. And then, progressively nearer, progressively louder, the double knock at each door, the crossings and recrossings of the street, until finally the clumsy steps came stumbling across to the very door, and the tremendous knock came which shook the house itself.
These constitute the vast wheat-growing areas in North America and Siberia.
But on that particular morning, the first morning, he had for some reason waited for the postman. But when at last the steps were heard, they had already come round the corner, a little up the hill to the first house. And even so, they were curiously different. And he had understood the situation at once. Nothing could have been simpler. There had been snow in the night, such as all season he had been hoping for. And it was this which had rendered the postman's first steps inaudible, and the later ones faint. And even now it must be snowing, the white ragged lines drifting and sifting, whispering and hushing, seething, getting deeper and deeper, silenter and silenter. Queer the effect this extraordinary surprise had upon him. All the following morning he had kept with him a sense as of snow falling about him, a secret screen of new snow between himself and the world. If he had not dreamed such a thing, and how could he have dreamed it while awake, how else could one explain it? He could not now remember whether it was on the first or the second morning, or was it even the third, that his mother had drawn attention to some oddness in his manner.
Paul, dear? Paul, you just don't seem to be listening.
What the devil is it, Paul?
Paul? Now, does anyone know the difference between the North Pole And the magnetic pole?
Perhaps it hadn't been even the second or third morning, or even the fourth or fifth. How could he be sure? How could he be sure just when the delicious progress had become clear? Just when it had really begun? All he knew was that at some point or another, perhaps the second day, perhaps the sixth, he had noticed that the presence of the snow was a little more insistent, the sound of it clearer, and conversely, the sound of the postman's steps more indistinct. Not only could he not hear the steps come round the corner, he could not even hear them at the first house. It was above the first house that he heard them. And then, a few days later, above the second, and a few days later, above the third. Gradually, the snow was becoming heavier. The sound of it seething louder. The footsteps more and more muffled. When he found each morning on going to the window that the roofs and the streets were as bare as ever, it made no difference. This was, after all, only what he had expected. It was even what pleased him, what rewarded him. There, outside, were the bare streets, and here, inside, was the snow. Snow growing heavier each day, muffling the world, hiding the ugly, and deadening, increasingly above all, the steps of the postman.
Paul, your father thinks you might need a new lamp upstairs for your studies.
We've been worrying, Paul. We thought maybe it was eye strain that's been bothering you.
How was one to explain? Would it be safe to explain? Would it merely mean that he would get into some obscure kind of trouble? And how could he explain his new world?
How's school going, son? History was my favorite subject.
I think I prefer geography, especially when it takes one to the North Pole.
Why the North Pole?
Well, it would be fun to be an explorer, like Perry, or Scott, or Byrd.
It was irresistible, this new world. It was miraculous. Its beauty was beyond anything, beyond speeches, beyond thought, utterly incommunicable. And with each passing day, it increased. The snow became deeper, heavier, the sound of its seething more distinct, more soothing, more persistent.
Perhaps we'll ask Paul. Paul?
Paul? If this goes on, we'll have to see a doctor. We can't have our boy living in another world. So far away.
There were times when he longed, positively ached to burst out with it, to tell everyone about it, only to be checked almost at once by a sense of mysterious power in his very secrecy. It must be kept secret. That more and more became clear, at whatever cost to himself, whatever pain to others.
Perhaps you'll come out of your daydream long enough to be able to tell us, won't you, Paul?
It is what we now call the Hudson River.
And?
He thought it was the Northwest Passage. He was disappointed.
Thank you.
Was timeless. It pleased him to see through the accompaniment or counterpoint of snow the items of mere externality on his way. Further on. There was something else now further on, which was already assuming a sharper importance. He knew what he was going to look at next. It was his own house, his own little hill street, his silent, his secret snow. This morning, could he be mistaken? It was just above the 7th house, his own house, that the postman had first been audible. The knock he had heard must have been the knock on his own door. The realization gave him abruptly, and even a little frighteningly, a sense of hurry. He was being hurried. He was being rushed. Did it mean, and this was an idea which gave him an extraordinary sense of surprise, that he would never hear the postman again? Was it all going to happen at the end so suddenly? Or indeed, had it already happened? After supper, the inquisition began.
And now take it slowly and hold it if you can.
How silly all this was. As if it had anything to do with his throat, or his heart, or lungs.
Now, Paul, I just want you to read this, as you naturally would.
And another praise have I to tell, for this the city our mother, the gift of the great God, a glory of the land most high, the might of horses, the might of the sea.
No, there's no sign of superficial eye strain at all. We could have his eyes examined, but I believe it's something else.
Even here, even among these hostile presences, the snow was waiting, out of sight, with an air that said, "Wait, Paul, just wait."
Is there anything that worries you very much?
Oh, no. I think not.
Are you quite sure?
You needn't answer at once, Paul. Remember, we're trying to help you. Think it over and be quite sure, won't you?
Wait, Paul. Just wait till we're alone together. Then I will tell you something new, something cold, something sleepy, something of cease and peace in the long, bright curve of space. Banish them, refuse to speak, leave them. Go upstairs to your room. I will be waiting for you. I will tell you a story better than the snow ghost. I will surround your bed, close the windows, pile a deep drift against the door, so that none will ever again be able to enter. Speak to them.
I'm just thinking.
Thinking? But, my dear, about what?
About what?
Yes, Paul, about what?
Anything.
Paul, you're making this very painful for your mother. What are you thinking about?
About the snow.
What on earth?
My dear, what do you mean?
Just snow, that's all. I like to think about it.
Tell us about it, my boy.
That's all there is. There's nothing to tell. You know what snow is.
Hurry, Paul, hurry. These last few precious hours.
Mother, can I go to bed now? Please, I have a headache. Please.
Listen. We have come to tell you the story we told you about. You remember? In this white darkness, we will take the place of everything.
Paul. Go away. Oh, Paul. I hate you.
And with that effort, the seamless hiss advanced once more. Listen, it said. We'll tell you the last, the most beautiful and secret story. A story that gets smaller and smaller, that comes inward instead of opening like a flower. It is a flower that becomes a seed, a little coal seed. Do you hear? We are leaning closer to you.
What are your plans for the Christmas holidays? Entertain friends or relatives? Going home to visit parents, perhaps? This is always get-together time, a time when people go home to the families they've left behind as they've made their own way in the world. Joan Bartram made her way from a small town in Ohio to New York, where she worked for a while as a secretary, and then married Skip Bartram, an oil company executive. She hadn't been back to her home in Ohio in 12 years, so it was a particular thrill for Joan when Skip came home one night and said,
"How'd you like to go home for the holidays? See your folks."
Oh, Skip, I'd love it. But can we afford it?
Well, the company's sending me to Toledo for a new training program right after the holidays, so the trip is on them.
Oh.
We'll just leave a little early and be with your folks for Christmas.
Oh, what a surprise. Oh, I'm going to call Mother this minute.
You don't want to just drop in on them and make it a surprise?
And have them fade away? No. I want to give them something to look forward to.
Well, maybe you're right.
Oh, it's been 12 years since I've been home, and you've never...
Hello?
Hello, Mother?
Oh, Joan.
How are you?
Just fine, dear.
Mother, are you sitting down?
No? Why?
Listen, Mother, get Dad over to the phone. I want him to hear my news.
Henry, come here. Joan, are you pregnant?
Oh, no, Mother.
All right, dear. Your father's listening.
I'm coming home for Christmas.
Coming home?
Yes, Skip has to be in Toledo after the holidays, so we're leaving early, in time to be with you for Christmas.
That's the best news I've had all day. Joan, your mother's doing her thing. She's starting to cry.
Yes, so am I. I have to hang up now. I'll let you know when we'll arrive.
Okay, darling. We'll be waiting.
When can we leave?
Well, I'd like to get away by Saturday. We'll have to drive. I'll need the car in Toledo. Let's see, we ought to get to Runyonville by, the 23rd. The map shows the end of the interstate. What do we do when we turn off?
Let's see. We go north on 84, it looks like. Yes, north on 84 to Hamilton, then 42A to Blue Mountain, and we keep on that to Runyonville.
Oh, I don't know. It looks as though the interstate keeps on going. Well, look there.
Yeah. According to the map, though, there's a proposed extension.
Well, it's been finished since the map came out, I guess. What if we stayed on this?
Oh, we'd go straight to Runyonville. It looks as though we'd save about 20 miles, too.
So we're in luck. We'll stay on it. It looks as though, We may be at your folks a lot sooner than we thought.
Oh, it's starting to snow. Oh, we're going to have a white Christmas.
Well, I hope it doesn't get too thick before we hit your folks' place.
Skip, how far have we come on this highway?
Oh, about 40 miles.
Have you noticed anything strange?
You're thinking the same thing I am.
There hasn't been a sign or a turnoff since we got on this road.
Yeah, I noticed that. And come to think of it, I don't remember seeing any cars passing us in either direction.
Doesn't seem natural.
Well, if this road's going anywhere, they're keeping it a secret.
I'm getting a little uneasy. Maybe we ought to turn back and take Route 84 like we planned.
Oh, I hate to do that after we've come this far. Now, this road's got to come out someplace. Let's see, we got about an hour before dark.
And the snow is getting heavier. I wish you'd slow down.
I hope we make it before dark. I don't want to get stranded in this. Oh,
Skip, what's the matter?
We're skidding. I can't control it.
Oh, yeah, Skip, do something. We're sliding.
I'm doing all I can.
You put any more tinsel on the tree, Harriet, and it's going to topple over.
I don't see how you can sit there so relaxed.
Why are you so nervous? The children said they'd be here sometime today or tomorrow.
They should have been here by now.
Only because you think they should be. If anything was wrong, they'd call. You know that.
Oh, you're right. I'm just so excited about having our Joan home for Christmas. I can't relax.
Well, I think I'll take a stroll in the snow. Need anything from downtown?
No, dear. I've had everything in for days. I just wish they'd get here.
They will, Harriet. They will. Now, you stop worrying. Worrying isn't going to get them here any sooner.
Oh, my head. Joan, are you all right?
Well, what happened?
Oh, can you straighten up?
Oh, well, my leg's caught.
Oh, here, let me see. Try twisting it a little bit this way. Oh, there. There, it's free. How do you feel, hon?
Dizzy.
Oh, we crashed into the boulders.
Can we... will the car move?
Oh, pray.
Thank heaven.
Oh, if I can back her off. Yep, I better get out and take a look. That does it.
What's the matter?
2 flat tires.
Oh, no.
And only one spare, naturally.
Oh, dear Lord, what are we going to do? We're miles from anywhere.
At least the snow's letting up a bit.
Oh, we can't just sit here on this ghost road.
Well, where will we walk?
Hey, Skip, look. A light.
Oh, yeah. Oh, about half a mile away, I'd say.
It must be a town.
Hey, do you think you can make it on that leg?
Oh, yes. I'd hop on one foot to get out of here.
Well, we can phone your folks. Tell them we'll be a little delayed. We can probably get the car towed in. Well, it looks like we'll have to stay till morning.
Or maybe Dad can come pick us up. We can't be far from Runyonville. We can pick up the car tomorrow or the next day.
Oh, that's Christmas Day.
Oh, that's right.
Hey, what are we sitting here chatting for? Come on, let's move.
On the street at all.
Oh, the storm must have sent them all home, I guess.
Well, let's try that grocery store. They're sure to have a phone.
Well, they can tell us where to find a garage, too. At least we can get the car off the road for the night.
It's so still.
Hello? Anybody here?
It's so dim. One bare bulb.
Well, pretty skimpy merchandise, too.
Hello?
Wow. Whew, place seems deserted.
Yeah. I don't see any payphone. Or any phone, for that matter.
Hello? Anybody here? Oh, well, we'll go someplace else. There's got to be a restaurant or a tavern in this town. Hey, come on.
Oh, I know this isn't Runyonville.
Oh, I hope not. Looks like a quaint little place, but awfully deserted. Boy, they must pull the sidewalks in at 5 in the afternoon.
Oh, the sky's clear. Oh, look at those stars.
Wow, I haven't seen them that bright in a long time.
There don't seem to be many stores. Mostly houses.
Well, we're not on the main drag. Maybe we better go ask directions at that house there. No sense wandering around a strange town.
Yeah, I guess we should. I'm sure they'll let us use their phone. I'll call Dad collect.
Hey, listen. Hear that?
Singing. Of course, it's a carol concert. That's where everyone must be.
Well, come on, let's see if we can find them. I give up. I don't know where that music's coming from.
We've covered so many streets and nothing.
Yeah, no one. Oh, hey, honey, you're shivering.
I'm scared.
Well, there's a hotel across the street. Let's go there and use the phone. There's got to be one there.
This is a ghost town. Well, there's no use wandering about anymore. It's a ghost town in the middle of Ohio.
I wonder. You know, you might be right. It could be one of those restorations. An antique village, and if it is one, then there's got to be somebody around. A caretaker or a watchman or someone.
Let's try the hotel.
Well, I was wrong, I guess. The hotel is just as deserted as everything else.
And still no phone.
Oh, I wish I had that CB radio Paul offered me. I always thought they were a nuisance, but that sure would have gotten us out of this mess. Hey, come on. Let's look around upstairs.
Every room's empty. Not a stick of furniture anywhere.
Yeah, that's about what I expected.
What was that?
Well, it sounded like something hitting the roof.
Oh, Skip, let's go back to the car. I'm too frightened to stay here. This place is just too spooky.
Yeah, come on, you don't believe in ghosts.
It's not ghosts I'm afraid of.
There's another one. Well, something sailed past the window and landed on the ground. I'm going down and take a look around.
I'll come with you. I'm not staying in here alone. Can you see anything?
Not yet. There's nothing out here except a couple of green logs. Over there, see them?
Green logs?
Yeah. Moss covered. Looks like they've been laying there for years.
But, Skip, there's no snow on them. If they'd been laying there for years, they'd be covered with snow.
You think that's what hit the hotel? Well, I mean, logs this big don't just fall out of the sky.
Just take me back to the car.
Now, honey, there's no sense getting panicky. We're alone in this town or amusement park or whatever it is, and at least there's shelter. We'll stay here for the night, and we'll just try to get to civilization in the morning.
You want to stay here? We might be murdered in our sleep. As if I could sleep.
Well, dear heart, there's nothing else we can do. I mean, sleeping in the car is foolish when we're... Uh-oh.
The lights. Every light went out.
Well, that settles it. We're not going anywhere now.
The whole town's out. There's not a light anywhere.
Yeah. It seems to be clouded over, too. See, the stars are gone. Come on. Come on, let's go back inside. We'll be safe in there. We'll curl up in the lobby furniture and try to sleep.
I won't shut an eye.
Joan and Skip Bartram faced the prospect of spending the night in a deserted hotel in a strange and darkened town. A town apparently without inhabitants. Could it be a restoration of some kind? A sort of Midwestern Williamsburg? Under normal circumstances, it might be a lovely place to spend the Christmas holiday. But Skip and Joan are anxious to get to her parents' home and friendly family warmth. They spent the night in the sparsely furnished lobby of the hotel. And now it's morning.
Skip. Skip.
Huh?
Wake up, honey.
Oh.
It's daylight.
Oh, my aching back. Oh, that's the hardest couch in the world.
I didn't sleep all night. Come outside. I want to show you something.
Oh, no. Can't you bring it in here?
Oh, stop being silly. There are footprints in the snow, and they're not ours.
Footprints?
Yeah, look out the side window there.
Yeah. Yeah, they go around the back of the hotel. Well, that means somebody's around here. Come on. They're small prints. It must be a child or a woman.
Well, they lead toward that barn. It's funny, I didn't hear or see anyone. I was awake all night.
Well, there aren't any prints leading away from the barn. So whoever made them is still in there.
It's so quiet. Not a sign of life anywhere.
Well, let's go in. It's not like a private house. Anybody here?
It's so dark and dingy, Skip. Skip, let's go back out. I don't like this.
Well, somebody's got to be here. I mean, the footsteps stopped at the door.
Then why won't they answer us?
Hey, listen. Well, that was somebody's up in the loft.
They're coming down those stairs. Who's down there?
Oh, good morning, ma'am. We're looking for someone to help us.
Mercy. Where did you come from?
Well, we had an accident with our car last night. We skidded into an embankment.
Oh, my word.
We found the whole town deserted, so we spent the night in the hotel.
Oh, how curious. There aren't any beds in that hotel, you know.
We slept, or rather stayed, in the lobby.
I'm Skip Bartram, and this is my wife, Joan. We were wondering...
I'm pleased to meet you. I'm Mrs. McKinnon.
Well, we were wondering if this is some sort of a restoration. I mean, there were lights on last night.
And we heard Christmas carols.
Oh, yes. Isn't the music lovely? What do you mean by a restoration? This is Taylortown.
But there's no one living here. You're the only person we've seen since last night.
Yes, they've all gone. Each season, a few more left. My husband went last year. I'm the last one here.
You live here all alone? All alone in a deserted town?
It's my home.
Could we use your phone, Mrs. McGinnis? Joan wants to call her dad to pick us up, and, well, I've got to get a tow truck for the car.
Oh, mercy me, there's no garage or tow truck. Oh, but there's a payphone at the railroad station. We never had phones in any of the houses. And just wait till I finish upstairs, and I'll show you where it is. I don't know if it works, though. I think it's just there for effect.
I wonder what she meant by that.
Well, who knows? I just feel better now that we've met another human being. She seems friendly enough.
But a little strange, don't you think?
Naturally. Living alone in a dead town.
A ghost town. I wonder how long she'll be. But we could find that railroad station ourselves.
Oh, let her be hospitable. A few minutes won't matter. Mrs. McGinnis? Mrs. McGinnis, are you almost finished?
That's strange.
Well, I'll see.
Has something happened to her?
Mrs. McGinnis?
Skip, what's the matter?
Well, she's not here. The loft's absolutely empty. Well, there's no way she could have gotten out of that barn. There are no windows in that loft.
Well, she did. Unless we just imagined we saw and talked with her.
No, she was there all right. She just gave us the slip somehow.
Oh, look, there's the railroad station. Oh, pray that phone works.
Well, I'm not counting on it, but, well, it's worth a try.
It looks like one of Belle's first pay phones. Skip, have you got a dime?
Yeah, I think so. Here you are.
Well, here goes.
Well, so far, so good.
Oh, I got a dial tone.
Yeah, at least something works in this town.
Well, it's only 10 after 9. One of them's bound to be home. Ah, it's ringing.
Yeah, they're probably looking out the windows, wondering where we are.
Hello? Is somebody on this line?
Oh, Dad. Oh, Dad, thank heaven I reached you.
Who is this?
It's Joan, Dad.
Joan? I can hardly hear you. Speak up.
Dad, it's Joan. We've had an accident with the car. You'll have to pick us up.
Where are you? You'll have to talk louder.
A place called Taylortown. It's practically a ghost town. Do you know where it is?
Taylortown?
Look, we'll wait for you in front of the hotel. How long will it take you?
Well, it's 10 after 9 now. About 1 hour.
Oh, we'll be here. Oh, I can't wait to see you, Dad. Dad? Dad? Oh, the line's dead.
What's the matter? You look concerned.
Dad sounded so funny. I expected more of a reaction. He was so matter-of-fact. He didn't ask for details or anything.
Oh, I'm sure he figured he'd find out the details when he picks us up.
Yes, I suppose. You know, dear, I have this strange feeling I know this village. Well, not the village so much, but the houses. The houses look so familiar.
Well, a lot of small Midwestern towns have that turn-of-the-century look.
I guess so. We used to go shopping in Fairmont, and it was full of the same big houses we had in Runyonville, with porches around the whole front and little filigrees under the eaves.
Like that place on the corner.
Exactly.
And look who's on the porch.
Mrs. McGinnis.
Hello there. Where did you come from? I don't get many visitors anymore.
We wondered where you went.
Where I went? Why, I've been here all morning. Sweeping the snow, Got to get it off the porch before it freezes. Well, what brings you to Taylortown?
Skip, she doesn't remember us.
Mrs. McGinnis, we met
and
you.
You know my name. Mercy, who are you?
Mrs. McGinnis, we met you at the barn this morning, and you said...
A barn, you say? Oh, there's a nice one behind the hotel. Want to come in for some hot coffee? Takes the chill off.
Yeah, thanks. We'd like that.
Well, come along in, then. I'll heat up the pot.
Skip, I don't know.
Well, what harm can it do? Look, we've got at least an hour to wait for your dad. We might as well spend it in a cozy kitchen.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Come out to the kitchen. Hot coffee in in a minute with some fresh scones I made myself.
She keeps a neat house. And so, old-fashioned. It's lovely.
Yeah,
Oh.
pretty start.
Come in and sit down at the kitchen table. I don't have much, as you can see, but there's always something to share. You're planning on moving here, you said.
No, Mrs. McGinnis. We told you. We had an accident with our car.
Oh, that's too bad.
But I just called my father. He's coming to pick us up.
You called your father?
Yes, just now. On the phone at the railroad station.
Oh, mercy, that is a miracle. I didn't know that phone ever worked.
And we're happy to enjoy your hospitality while we're waiting.
We still can't understand why there's no one else in town. You live here all alone?
It's my home. Oh, it's not bad living alone. I get by.
Yeah, we thought it was some sort of restoration.
I don't know what a restoration is.
A restoration is an old town or house that's been restored to look the way it did years ago.
Oh, this town's looked like this from the beginning, ever since it came from Scotland.
The town came over from Scotland?
It's an exact duplicate of Taylortown in Scotland. The streets and the houses and all the furnishings came from Scotland. Oh, mercy, don't ask me how long ago.
Then you were born here.
I guess so.
You guess so?
Well, I've never been anywhere else. Oh, you're not eating the scones.
I guess we'd better get over to the hotel and wait for Dad. Thank you so much for your hospitality, Mrs. McGinnis.
Oh, I'll come along. I'd like to see a modern automobile. I'll just get my shawl. I won't be a minute.
She shouldn't be living alone like this. It's made her completely confused.
Oh, I know. Well, there's nothing we can do, though.
And she kept offering us scones, and the plate was empty.
Well, she's living in the past.
Well, I wish she'd hurry. I don't want to miss Dad.
Well, we've got lots of time. If you said an hour, well, we've only been here a few minutes.
Oh, I wonder what's keeping Mrs. McGinnis. Look, why don't we just go on? She'll follow us. She knows where the hotel is.
Mrs. McGinnis? You about ready? Mrs. McGinnis?
Oh, not again.
Oh, talk about the Cheshire Cat.
Come on. Let's get out of here.
You want your eggs scrambled or fried this morning, Will?
Fried is easier.
Oh, I do hope we hear from the children soon. I'm getting awfully nervous.
I thought they'd at least arrive last night.
But not to call. It's not like Joan.
Well, that just means there's nothing wrong, Harriet. If they'd had trouble, we'd have been the first to know.
Something's not right. I just feel it.
Well, it's 10 after 9. If they're not here by noon, maybe I'll call the police. Oh, I'll get it. Hello? Hello?
Is it Joan?
Well, there seems to be a voice, but I can't make it out. Joan? Oh, it's a bad connection. I don't know if it's Joan or not.
Oh, dear.
Hello? 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 It's no use. Whoever it was will have to call back. We'll just have to wait.
Skip, I'm terribly frightened. I wasn't before, but now I really am. There's something evil here. I mean, no people except that crazy Mrs. McGinnis?
But your dad's on the way, huh?
I wonder. It's been 2 hours now.
Well, maybe he had trouble. At least he knows where we are. Doesn't he?
How do I know? All we do is ask each other silly questions. We may just die here. Don't you realize that? We may just die here.
Stop it. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, hon. I had to stop you.
I'll get control of myself. I'm sorry. We'll just have to wait. What time is it?
10 after 2.
I'm going to phone home again. Maybe there's a reason Dad was delayed.
And after that, I'm going to call the state police. I should have thought of it before. We're in a real emergency here. They'll tow us out. Come on.
But suppose Dad comes after we've gone.
We'll ask Mrs. McGinnis to watch for him.
Mrs. McGinnis? Mrs. Houdini, you mean? I wouldn't trust her to give Dad a message.
Well, we're getting out of here as fast as we can. Your father or the police, whichever comes first. Okay, here, try your folks again.
It's dead. There's no dial tone. Nothing makes sense in this place. Oh, it's no use. It's as dead as...
Hands up. Stay right where you are.
She's got a gun.
You'd better be taking off.
Mrs. McGinnis, why the gun?
How do you know my name?
A lucky guess. Why are you pointing that gun at us?
I want you out of here now. I don't trust strangers.
Mrs. McGinnis, you were so hospitable to us before. Why are you...
Before? I've never seen you before in my life. Now get out of here. Start walking.
Where to?
To wherever you come from. I don't allow strangers here.
This is a nightmare.
You don't scare us, because I know in a couple of minutes you're going to disappear.
What are you talking about?
You've been popping up and vanishing all morning. In a few minutes you'll just disappear, poof. So we are waiting right here. Well, come on, Joan. She means it.
But where can we go?
Back to the car.
She wouldn't really shoot us. She couldn't.
Keep going.
We're not taking chances with that crazy old woman.
But we'll freeze out here, and Dad won't find us.
You'll have to pass the car on the highway. Nothing makes any sense here.
Skip, look back. You were right. She's gone.
We'll be okay here. The motor works. I'll just turn on the heater. Come on, hop in. Oh, there's more damage than I thought. The whole front end's caved in.
What a Christmas this has turned out to be.
Oh, honey, we'll get out of this. Let me get the heater going.
We might as well get some holiday spirit if the radio still works. I'm so bushed.
Oh, you didn't sleep all night. And I didn't get much myself on that wooden couch.
I hope Dad comes soon.
Yeah, we can't keep the motor running all day.
I hope Mrs. McGinnis doesn't show up again.
Oh, she wouldn't follow us out here.
But lock the doors anyway. Oh, I'm so sleepy.
Hey, you all right in there? Hey, you too.
Huh? Who's that?
What's the matter?
Are you two okay?
It's a state trooper.
Oh, we fell asleep. Oh, my leg.
Oh, are we glad to see you?
Anybody hurt?
No. Oh, no, we must have dozed off.
Dozed off and ran off the road. The helicopter spotted your car and called us.
Oh, thank the Lord for that.
How'd you get on this road? It's officially closed.
Well, there weren't any signs about that. It connected with Interstate 40, and we just stayed on it. Had the bad luck to skid into boulders.
This extension isn't due to open until next summer. Where are you heading?
Runyonville. My parents live there. We're going home for the holidays.
You wouldn't have gotten there on this route. It ends about 100 yards up ahead. I'll radio for a tow and get you folks to Onionville. When did you go off the road?
Last night?
You been here all night?
Well, no, we went into Taylortown.
Taylortown?
Yeah, right up the road. But it's a ghost town except for a crazy old woman who lives there.
I better get you folks to the hospital first. Just a checkup. You know, possible concussion.
Oh, no. We're all right. My wife's ankle was twisted, but once we got out of the car, she was okay. We do not need a hospital.
You say you spent the night in a place called Taylortown?
Yes.
There is no Taylortown around here. I've lived here all my life. And there just isn't any place called Taylortown.
But right up the road. I mean, look for yourself. We were there all night.
I'm sorry, ma'am. Maybe you'd better look.
Oh. There's nothing there. There's no village at all.
No, ma'am. The road ends at that vacant field. Not a town as far as you can see. How are they, Doctor?
Well, no sign of concussion at all. No injuries except abrasions on the woman's ankle.
Yeah, well, what about their story about spending the night in a village called Taylortown?
Hard to say. Maybe they did.
They must have imagined it.
Yeah, they show no signs of exposure.
They only think they were there through the night. They may have been on the road only a couple of hours. The helicopter spotted them 2 hours ago. They went to a village named Taylortown. They were hallucinating.
Hallucinations quite common in extreme circumstances. Mirages in the desert. Anxiety can produce them.
Then you think they spent the night, like they said, in a village that isn't there?
Well, they had an emotional experience. Physically, they're fine. I see no reason to keep them here. They're better off going home to the woman's parents.
Will, they're here. A police car's driving up. Joe, Mother, Dad.
Are we glad to see you?
Oh, Mother.
We were just about to send the police out looking for you when you called from the hospital.
Oh, I'm going to send that state trooper a whopping Christmas gift. I got his name and badge number.
Skip, it's so good to see you again.
Same here.
Thank heaven you're both okay.
Come on in, everybody. No use standing here in the cold. What happened, Dad? We thought you were coming to pick us up in that place called Taylortown.
That's what puzzles me. We never heard from you. The phone rang early this morning, but no one was there.
Oh, I know I had a bad connection, but I was sure I heard you say you'd meet us. You seemed to know where we were.
You mentioned this Taylortown. There's no place like that around here. Where exactly were you?
Well, I've never heard of it either, but we were there. I know the trooper thought we were loony.
Oh, I don't know what to say about all this. Why don't you both just relax? I've got a buffet all ready. We'll have cocktails and you can tell us all about it.
That's a good idea. I'll get your suitcases up to the guest room.
We had to leave all our gifts in the car, but they're towing it in tonight. So we'll have them in time for Christmas.
No, they don't matter, dear. Having you here and safe is what's important. Now, you just relax and enjoy the tree while I get things ready. You must be famished.
Oh, it's so good to be home again. And at Christmas time, everything's so pretty.
Yeah. Ooh, that's some tree.
I just love the decoration. Skip, look.
What?
Under the tree. Look, come closer.
Oh.
A little village set out under the tree. Cardboard houses. And look at the hotel.
It's Taylortown.
Mother and Dad got this set when I was a child. I'd forgotten it.
Every house. Every street is just the way it was.
The railroad station, the little store, and Mrs. McGinnis's house.
Joan, wait a minute. We weren't... We couldn't have been there.
That's what the trooper said.
What happened to us? Oh, hey, I'm getting the chills. Look at those pine needles from the tree. Those are the green logs that hit the roof.
I wonder.
What?
Mrs. McGinnis. Could she be...
I think she disappeared for the last time.
What should we tell Mother and Dad?
I don't know. I think we've said enough. I don't know what happened to us last night, but we better stop talking about it.
I guess you're right.
Here are the hors d'oeuvres. You can pour the wine, Will.
A holiday toast, everybody.
Oh, I see you're admiring the village under the tree. Oh, we haven't set it up for years.
We used to put it up regularly when Joan was a child. Lately, we've just had a table tree.
Ah, but this year, with you both coming, we went all out. Big tree, everything.
Yes, and it's lovely.
The detail in those houses is exquisite, isn't it?
Yes, very realistic.
It was imported from Scotland. It's been in my family for years. Well, here's to a wonderful holiday visit. Merry Christmas, everyone.
If there were an explanation for everything, where would the magic in life be? I think we'd all lose interest if everything were cut and dried, neatly packaged, just right. We need a bit of amazement now and then to soften the blow of reality. Skip and Joan left reality for a brief period, and it gave them something to remember all their lives.
This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
What do you think you're doing?
Slide. I can't find those slides. They would start hiding now.
Why don't you try your case? You put them in there 10 minutes ago.
Look, this is no time for jokes.
However, just to show you... I'm sorry, Frank. It's the conference jitters.
You sure you got your speech?
Of course, idiot. It's coming on at the end that worries me.
Nervous, huh?
What do you think?
I thought you did a lot of this sort of thing when you were in America.
Yes, but this is the first time in Germany, remember?
The weaker sex.
By the way, this is as much your stuff as mine, Dr. Overton.
Ah, we settled all that 2 weeks ago. Let's not go over it again. Oh, incidentally, Joan's coming tonight.
Joan? No, don't tell me. Joan.
My wife.
I'm sorry, Frank.
You're forgiven. Come on, the old man's waiting.
Oh, I'm ready when you are.
Can you imagine the girl says she's nervous?
I shouldn't be surprised.
Ah. We're liable to be here for the next 6 weeks. I don't think you'll ever make South Africa.
I will be.
Ah, well, there's the great man himself.
Oh, it's a decent.
Hello, Robert. And you, Robert. Mr. Keith. And this, I'm sure, is our charming German colleague, Dr. Wieland.
How do you do, sir?
How do you do? I've heard a lot about your exciting work with Overton. That's why I came here to tell you what I think of it. Well, I hope you won't be too disappointed, Sir Keith.
Park this for me, will you, Frank, and I'll catch up with you later.
Right.
I ran into Blazer the other day.
Oh, did you?
He was asking after you. So I don't know how much
That barber's old fool, he gives me a pain.
Oh, forget him. Think of my worries instead.
Rats were placed in a cold environment and made to rebreathe their expired air in a closed vessel, so that the proportion of oxygen decreased and that of carbon dioxide increased.
Right in front, where it's low.
Naturally, the body temperature fell to minus 70 degrees centigrade. As you might well suppose, the overall effect of this...
Join us at the same time next week for Joan Overton's next interesting talk on current fashion.
Well, Joan, my love, if you think that's a fashion talk, you should be hung, drawn, and quartered.
Why? What's wrong with it?
What's wrong with it? Telling all those nice kids to buy a good suit that will last years and just bring the changes on the accessories. It's positively immoral. Hello? How long have you had this cheap old rag?
3 days?
And how long do you intend to keep it?
Well, it depends if my loving husband likes it or not. He hasn't seen it yet.
I bet he won't like it.
Why not?
Grow up, baby. Or do I have to make you a drawing?
Oh, that. Oh, well, he's used to that. You won't mind.
What makes you think so? I used to.
Ah. You really think I've overdone it?
If it were anybody else, I'd say yes. But as it's you... Come on, I've got my page to look after and it's getting late.
Oh, let's have one for the road.
You can't have. You can't go to a scientific meeting smelling of drink.
You're joking. It'll be over by the time I get there. With any luck.
Then why the finery?
Female competition.
Oh, now you're moving into my country. And what does that mean?
Helen Wieland.
Helen Wieland. Who's she?
A beautiful scientist.
The plot thickens. Come.
Well, she was called in by the World Health Service. And Frank was asked to help her. And man, does she need help. I don't see Frank these days.
What the hell do they do?
Believe it or not, they stick chimpanzees into a deep freeze for a few months and bring them out alive.
Both the parent chimpanzees have been deep frozen and kept in the cold store at a temperature of minus 80 degrees centigrade for 3 months before they were mated. We've been carrying out very exhaustive tests. None of the experimental animals have suffered any damage to the brain or major nerve centers whatsoever. In conclusion, the great problem until now of all low-temperature work with large animals has been how to stop the heart and then freeze the blood quick enough to prevent brain damage from oxygen starvation. Happily, Dr. Frank Overton's thermal control panel has solved this difficulty. But now we find ourselves face to face with a very intriguing question. Where next? I'm afraid I shall have to ask Dr. Overton to deal with that part of the discussion. Thank you very much for your attention.
Oh, can you tell me where the low-temperature lecture is?
First floor.
Thank you.
Excuse me, madam. Do you have invitation?
Invitation? My husband's Dr. Frank Overton. Is that any help?
That'll be all right. Thank you.
Thank you.
What's the maximum period of successful cold storage?
Well, our maximum is 3 months. But in theory, that can be extended to 3 years, 30 years, 300 years, just as long as you like. It makes no difference. They'd still come back as good as new. It's very simple. For where life is suspended, time actually has no meaning at all.
I should like to know if you foresee any possibility of extending your experiments to the human animal. It occurs to me, for instance, that some of our aging politicians might welcome the idea of going into cold storage until the next general election.
We'd be very happy to oblige the opposition, although I'm afraid they might like a trial or a test run first. Perhaps the questionnaire would like to volunteer to be the first guinea pig.
I must have notice of that question, but seriously, I take it that you are still a long way from human deep freeze.
Oh, no, sir.
You go ahead. I'll handle the brick bats.
Well, the question is, are we still a long way from human deep freeze? The answer is no. We are right on the doorstep. Dr. Overton and I are convinced that we could take a suitable human being, freeze him, and revive him with all his faculties intact. All we want is a chance to show we can do it.
How come you can go there no brain damage? We haven't any problem with the chimps.
But you can't compare a man who's...
Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, I am sorry. But our time is up, and I'm afraid the fascinating subject of deep freezing the human animal must itself go into cold storage for the moment. It only remains for me to thank all our contributors for this very interesting symposium on hypothermia.
Oh, you haven't noticed it?
Haven't noticed? How could I miss it, darling? You get your drink.
I'll have a scotch.
You mean a sherry?
Oh, Frank, do come and help. My voice is giving out.
Very nice to see you again. Goodbye.
Sorry to butt in, Hubbard, but I'd like to have a word with you.
Oh, dear, I was just going to talk to Mrs. Overton.
So unfortunately, I've got to leave in a minute.
Oh, very well.
Darling, no sherry, only champagne.
Oh, I hate it.
I'm sorry to hang you up like that.
It was my fault, Mrs. Overton. I didn't realize Frank was getting a drink.
Do call me Joan. It's much friendlier in the circumstances.
Oh, yes, I'd like to. I expect you know my name is Helen.
Yes, I saw it in the program. I'm sorry I couldn't get here before. I'm sure your speech must have been fascinating. Darling, would you get me another?
I think we ought to get something to eat.
Oh, you poor darling, you must be starving. Why didn't you say so before? You must come and have a meal with us sometime, Helen.
What do you mean sometime? No time like the present.
Oh, you're very kind, and I'd love to, but the speech making has worn me out. I can hardly wait to get back home. Thank you very much.
Are you sure you won't change your mind?
No, not tonight. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Oh, dear. That's too bad. I wish you'd join us.
You know, I think your Helen's got something. Perhaps we should go home after all.
I thought you wanted to show off your new outfit.
Darling, I only wore it to please you.
Let's go.
I hope I've made myself clear. I cannot have the unit associated in any way with deep freeze experiments on humans.
Of course, but it's a point we must reach one day.
Not while I'm in charge, I hope.
By the way, are you free next Friday morning?
I'm not sure why.
They're going to refreeze Susie.
Susie?
Yes, the mother chimp in that family group that Helen Beelan showed us. Why don't you come along and watch?
Well, I'll see what I can do. So long. What temperature is she now?
-10.
Oh. She doesn't look frozen to me.
Stupid old fool. And don't forget she's absorbed about a gallon of glycerol. That's why she hasn't iced up yet.
Martin, did you put a new cylinder in?
Yes, sir.
Wanted on the telephone, long distance.
All right, thanks, Martin. You manage, Helen?
Yes, of course. Now we are taking her right down to -80.
Is that carbon dioxide?
Yes, we freeze it around her.
What's the point? Why not pack her in dry ice straight away?
First thought, yes. But on second thoughts, no.
You see, Sir Keith, the body surface would cool much quicker than the interior if we did that. Now, this way, all the body processes are arrested simultaneously. Then she'll stay sweet and sound until we wake her up.
I see.
Are you ready, Martin?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's go.
Oh, yes. Just a minute. How much? How much? You couldn't have timed it better. Oh, I better take that down.
Hold it a minute, Frank. Well, there's your ice, Sir Keith.
That's quick.
It's just as well, because we are pretty tired at that stage.
-75 going on automatic.
All right, Martin. Let's wrap her up.
-80 on automatic, stabilizing.
Are you through?
Yes.
Good.
That was a most impressive demonstration. Most impressive indeed.
But you must come again when they do the resuscitation. That's much more exciting to watch. Oh, by the way, I've laid on tea in my office. Will you come, Helen, and you, Frank?
No, we were going to get Jackie ready.
Oh, but surely you can spare a few minutes. As I was saying, when the heart starts beating again and you hear the first thud on the amplifier, that's really exciting. Ah, as the tea doesn't seem to have turned up, while I read you a message I've just received by telephone, perhaps you'd like to drink a glass of champagne in honor of the winners of the Alexis Carrel Award. Helen Maria Wieland of Munich, Germany, and Francis Henry Overton of Boston, USA, for their remarkable advances in the field of low-temperature research, which opens up far-reaching possibilities in human surgery.
Carol Award. That's almost on par with the Nobel Prize.
Certainly in terms of cash. They'll get $25,000 each.
20.
Frank.
Yes, $25,000, and you can spend it all on this if you like. Oh, I'm sorry. Would you have preferred tea?
$12,4596? Frank!
Hi, darling. Just wanted to check and see if you were there. I'll be along shortly.
I don't believe it. You're not ill, are you?
Well, it depends on how you look at it. Sit tight. I'll be there in a few minutes.
Great. Bye.
What's all that about?
Put your skates on. Frank's coming home.
What's going on? Half-term? Parents' Day? Archbishop Street?
Cut the wise talk and go, man. Just go, huh?
Are you trying to get rid of me?
Oh, no. What do you think?
Oh, Joan is really excited. For the first time in her life, she can have anything, do anything she wants.
It must be the champagne. I still can't take it in.
Ah, here you are. I've just been speaking to Professor Hubbard about another matter, which he thinks you both ought to hear about right away. It concerns you in particular, Overton.
Oh, what is that, Sir Keith?
This splendid piece of news has come just at the right moment to set the seal on your work with Dr. Wieland. Worthy Victor's garland, so to speak. So now we must give you new fields to conquer. Professor Bradshaw wants you to take over the remote control sampler for their radiation investigation.
Well, Sir Keith, we just barely scratched the surface of this low-temperature project.
Precisely. The pioneer work's finished. It's time for the big battalions now to step in.
You may be right, but you still need us.
I've considered the possibility and decided that Dr. Wieland should carry on here.
You mean you want to break us up now when we've just reached the final stage of our work?
What exactly do the words final stage refer to, Dr. Wieland?
The first human experiment, of course.
I consider all this talk about a human deep freeze experiment extremely ill-advised and premature.
The Alexis Carroll trustees don't seem to share your opinion, Sir Keith.
No one hopes more fervently than I for the day when suffering humanity can be treated by your method and be cured. But it would be fatal to encourage false hopes, despite the enthusiasm of the current trustees.
You don't think for 1 minute that we've been conducting these experiments for the welfare of half a dozen monkeys, do you?
The high policy of the executive is outside your terms of reference, Dr. Overton.
Well, what the hell do you think we've been doing here?
Don't want you around when Frank gets back, that's all.
Why not? A little competition will do him a world of good.
Look.
He might stop thinking of you as simply another body for the deep freeze.
What are you trying to do?
Look in the mirror, my sweet. I'm trying to get a very attractive woman back into circulation.
If a chimpanzee dies during an experiment, that's one thing. But a human life is quite different. I'm sorry, but the risk of failure is much too great.
Sir Keith, the certainty of destruction by incurable disease is absolute. It is only by experiment and occasional failure we discover the knowledge and techniques that make for success. All we are asking for is to carry out these experiments in a calm and secure atmosphere.
That is no part of my responsibility.
It most certainly is. And until you give your word, the millions of people throughout the world suffering from incurable diseases will have to face their fate as best they can.
You know what my mother used to say? The years race by, but the magic lingers. That's how it is with us, Joan.
You are wasting your time. Look, we had our little interlude. And it was over the day I met Frank. You knew that. Well, nothing has changed. It's Frank now and always.
In my experience as a crime writer...
Oh, clear off! You're reaching the point of no return. And it'll hurt you more than it'll hurt me.
I think that young woman is most persuasive.
Possibly because her fiancé died of cancer.
Ah, that accounts for it.
I think if I knew I had only a few weeks to live, I'd volunteer for her.
By the way, Hubbard, I think you ought to step in.
Huh?
You must tell them that human experiments are out. They'll take it better from you. In the meantime, of course, I shall consult various authorities. Well, I must be going now.
You mean you'll sit on the fence, and if someone makes a fuss later, I shall take the rap?
My dear Hubbard, I had no such thought in mind.
Well, put your veto in writing for the record. And if you do that, I'll pass it on. Don't worry about it. Even if Sir Keith does put his veto in writing, I shall bring the matter up again at the Scientific Council.
Thank you.
I've already told Frank. He took it very calmly, considering he's not exactly fond of Sir Keith at the best of times.
Joan asked him to take her out tonight.
Very natural under the circumstances.
Yes, I mean, I think they must have had a pretty bad row. In fact, I know they did.
Well, that's their business, isn't it?
Oh, yes, of course. It's just I'm sorry it happened, that's all.
Helen, has it occurred to you that Frank's wife may feel rather shut out?
I don't see why. Ours has just been a happy working relationship.
I know. But it's not always easy to keep it that way. Good night.
I certainly asked for it, but I'm sorry you had to say it. It was necessary. You see, I've been very careful.
Mm-hmm.
Huh? There you are. I suppose I'm the last person you want to see. Well, the same goes for me. I've got something to tell you. Most important,
Martin, would you tell Dr. Overton his wife is here?
Huh? Come on, I don't want to see him. No. I want to see her. As a matter of fact, you can go too. Oh, it's full of people like you. But you're wasting your time. Because you're not going to get the better of me. Oh, no. You're going to get more than you bargained for.
What the heck?
Helen, you'd better go.
No, no.
What's going on here? Come on, Joan, let's go home.
No.
Come on, let's
No!
go.
Let me go! I want to see her!
Poor Frank. Ring him up when I've gone. Tell him not to worry about it. Nobody will ever refer to it again. Do you hear, Helen?
Yes, I'll do that.
What a queer sort of day it's been.
What do you have to put up with? When you leave me, they'll say, what a bitch. Surprised it lasted that long. That'll suit your book, won't it? Why didn't you say something?
What the hell do you want me to say? Look, why don't you get your clothes off and get into bed? Talk about this thing in the morning.
I want to talk now.
You're in no condition to talk about anything now.
I wish I was dead.
Oh, that's a bright, drunken speech. Hello. Helen, good of you to call. Yes. Yeah, it's all right now.
Professor Hubbard asked me to let you know.
Oh, that was nice of him, Helen. Thank you. Well, I'm not worried. It's just that...
Thank God he didn't see this.
Hold on, will you? What are you doing with that? Give me the gun.
Don't.
Give me the gun, Joe. Gun.
Frank? 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 Are you all right?
Helen?
Thank God. I thought I heard a gun go off.
No, nothing.
No, she tripped over a lamp and the bulb exploded. I'll try and get over later.
It was terrible. I thought I'd killed you.
That wasn't very bright of me, but I thought you were going to do something stupid.
I only tried to hide it. I didn't want you to see it.
Where'd you get the gun, John?
Tony's. I took it. They didn't know.
How long have you had it?
Tonight I went round to his place after we had our quarrel.
You mean you had this thing when you came to the lab tonight?
I only meant to frighten her. It was mad. I was all mixed up. It just must have been the scotch.
You brought this thing along to frighten Helen?
Look, I swear to you, I didn't take it out of the bag. She didn't see, honestly.
Did you know the gun was loaded?
Don't look at me like
Answer me, did you know it was loaded?
Tony said it was empty. It wasn't his fault, Frank. Let me give it to him back. Please, Frank, breathe! You've got to believe me. I swear to you, I didn't know it was loaded. Frank, I was so unhappy. I wanted her to know, to see what she was doing to me. Frank, I've tried. For weeks and weeks, I felt you going further and further away from me. I didn't want to do. I know she's the kind of woman you ought to have married. But I couldn't let you go. I love you too much. I just felt tonight if I didn't have a showdown, I'd go out of my mind.
I'm probably more to blame than you are. You can stop worrying about Helen. I'm being transferred next week.
Well, it's empty now.
Are you ready to start now, Dr. Wieland?
Yes, but Dr. Overton said he'd ring, so let's give him a few more minutes. By the way, is there any more coffee?
What? Again?
Yes, again. I'm an addict.
Coffee.
Thought you'd gone to bed.
Yeah, I'm going in a minute, but I wanted to talk to you.
Go ahead.
Do you think we can get away for a little while? You know, just a little holiday.
I don't suppose you could fix that, huh?
I could. It would mean helping Helen with that experiment tonight. Can't let her do it alone. I mean, all night, which you're not very fond of.
I don't mind, darling. Oh, I love you so much.
I hope the experiment will be a great, big, smashing success.
It will be. It better be.
Twelve 4596.
John?
Tony.
What have you done with my gun?
Oh, well, I was going to play a silly joke, and unfortunately it misfired.
Misfired?
Well, I was going to bring it back. Come and fetch it.
All right.
All right, Martin, we start.
Helen, thanks for calling me.
Frank?
I'm glad you didn't go ahead with Jackie.
I was just going to.
I've got a much better idea. You realize, of course, that once Vernon puts that veto in writing, we're sunk. We can't go ahead without getting Hubbard into hot water. We've got to be there first.
Yes, but how?
Tonight we're going to experiment on me. Don't look so shocked. I don't know why I didn't think of this thing sooner. I'm perfect for the experiment. Right weight, everything. Believe me, it'll go like clockwork, you'll see. Oh, Here are the ratio figures for the human experiment. All we have to do is add an extra liter of glycerol.
No. It's too much of a risk.
What do you mean too much of a risk? There is no risk. We've been saying there's no risk.
I know, but it's different when you're faced with it. I mean, we could be wrong. Will the human heart stand it? And what about brain damage from oxygen starvation? And what about your wife?
I'm doing this for Joan, too.
No, Frank. No, I won't do it. I can't. Not with you. I'd be too scared of something going wrong.
Unless, of course, that's what you want.
You're outnumbering yourself. Helen, do you realize what this means if this experiment is successful? And it's bound to be successful. It opens up unlimited possibilities for the world of surgery. And think of future generations, Helen. It'll free them of malignant disease. Look, it's something we've discussed sometimes back and forth. It's something we're agreed upon. It's something you do yourself. Well, isn't it? Answer me.
All right. You win.
Naturally. Martin. We're going to conduct our first human experiment tonight. You're going to be a part of it.
Oh, you don't expect me to?
No. It's on me. It's on me.
Joan, are you going to be long?
Coming right away.
You had better. You owe me an explanation. What does this mean?
Oh, I haven't seen that. Well, it just went off. Come, don't worry. Have a drink.
All right, I need it. And put that gun down.
Oh, that's all right. Don't worry. It isn't loaded. Frank made sure of that.
This is no laughing matter. If there had been an accident, I might have landed in jail.
Well, with your uncle a police vice president?
More than ever. I never got it licensed. It should have been handed in to the police. Incidentally, whilst bearing our souls, where's Frank?
On his last experiment.
Oh, back to the apes? Name your poison, Jane. You have no whiskey.
Lime juice, please. I'm on the wagon from now on.
For how long?
Forever.
Whatever?
Forever and ever. You don't believe me, do you? Well, here's Auf Wiedersehen to Joan the Soak.
Don't move. I'll phone for an ambulance. You'll be all right. Don't worry.
Don't. Oh, wait. Tony. Don't.
I'm here, John.
Why did Frank say it was empty? Why?
It's an automatic. So, when he thought it was empty, the last bullet was in the muscle. I should have checked it.
Oh, my fault.
What do you mean?
Frank didn't know.
Oh, you mean Frank doesn't know it was my gun?
The heart stops here, and the blood freezes here at -1. And this is where every second is going to count. We have got to close this gap faster than we've ever done it before. Must have a bigger safety margin.
Because of the sprain?
Yes. This is where there's a risk of damage if we're unlucky.
You better hurry up, Helen. I'm going to fall asleep on you.
I'm coming, Frank.
Yes, Martin?
How shall I enter this, Dr. Wieland?
What was our last serial number?
X700.
Well then, experiment X701.
Human. Zero. -1.
Set for -10 on full current. Good. 6 seconds to spare.
Will he be all right?
He looks all right so far.
Looks different from the chills. Doesn't he?
Don't
I'm
get up.
sorry.
You're tired out. What's wrong? Trouble with the experiment?
I hope not. You see, it isn't Jackie. Frank came back last night. He insisted
Frank?
We talked about Sir Keith trying to stop us from doing a human experiment. He said we must get in first. Must.
Is that all?
Oh, you know Frank. As usual, he started on our mission to humanity. He cornered me. What could I say?
So Frank offered himself as a guinea pig, and you accepted him. Because of his wife?
What's she got to do with it?
Does his wife know? When are you going to bring him back?
Tonight. Martin will come at 7 o'clock.
Yes. But what does he want? Oh, I see. Oh, and send him in. There's a man from the police. He wants to see Frank.
He can't, can he?
Any idea what he wants?
No. No.
Oh, well, then you better go home. I'll talk to him.
Oh, no, please let me stay.
Why don't you tell me?
Afterwards, perhaps.
Come in.
Good morning. Sorry to bother you. I'm Detective Inspector Prento, and this is Sergeant Green.
Well, I'm Professor Hubbard, and this is Dr. Wieland.
Morning, madam.
I understand you want to see Dr. Overton.
If he's here, sir.
He is.
I thought he might be. His car is outside.
But he's not available at the moment.
Oh, we'd better make him available.
Well, that's not so easy. He's involved in an experiment.
Then he had better stop for a while. I've got some important questions to ask him.
I'm afraid he's unconscious. Perhaps you better tell me what you want him for.
At this stage, it's none of your business, sir.
Then you better make it my business, Inspector. We may want to keep Dr. Overton unconscious for weeks, even months.
Do I understand, yeah, that you will hinder the police in the execution of their duty?
No, I'm asking you to tell me what you want to talk to Dr. Overton about.
Very well. We think Dr. Overton can help us in connection with his wife's sudden and violent death. By shooting.
No.
Perhaps Dr. Wieland could be more helpful.
One moment, Inspector. This lady is a member of an international organization. Shouldn't you warn her that she doesn't have to answer your questions at this stage?
Yes, of course. I was about to do that. Well, Doctor.
I can only say I'm very shocked to hear the news. He's a dear friend and colleague.
Yes. I only want facts.
For the early part of the evening, he was here. His wife called. They left, and later he returned to do the experiment.
Where is he now?
I'll answer that, Helen. At the moment, Dr. Overton is in the next room in a glass case surrounded by solidified gas at about minus 40 degrees centigrade. And as you might expect, his life processes are suspended.
The man's either alive or dead, sir.
I mean what I say. Suspended.
Alive?
Alive.
I suppose he can be revived.
Well, this is an experiment.
Can I see that case?
Yes, you can see it.
You stay here, sir.
Yes, sir.
Are you prepared to swear he's inside?
Yes,
And alive?
I hope so. I can't raise the dead.
It would be very awkward if he passed on. What you have told me is contrary to human experience. I hope that is the truth. For your sakes.
Scientists are as interested in the truth as the police inspector.
Have either of you any reason to suppose that Dr. Overton undertook this experiment in the hope of escaping from the consequences of his actions?
Dr. Overton is a brilliant medical scientist. If he wanted to escape anything permanently, all he would have to do is inject himself with some drug, go to sleep peacefully, and not wake up again.
That should answer your point, Inspector.
I want Dr. Overton revived as soon as possible.
I'll think about it, Inspector. Dr. Wieland has been working intensely for over 24 hours, and there are many other considerations which don't concern you. I'll let you have my decision later in the day.
You are probably very wise, Professor. The human mind plays funny tricks when suffering from lack of sleep. Sergeant, I want you to stay in the laboratory until I send her a leave.
Sir. What are our chances?
I can only use the technique we developed. And pray.
So your secretary did manage to get hold of you.
Yes, he did indeed. I've been traveling the whole day.
I thought you wouldn't want to miss the fun.
I'm certainly relieved to see that the whole place isn't swarming with reporters.
No, because we've persuaded the police to let us finish the resuscitation in peace.
In peace? But don't you realize the full implications of this business?
We don't know the facts yet.
The facts are obvious. Overton shot his wife, returned to the laboratory, and with Fräulein Wieland's willing connivance embarked upon this experiment, either as a red herring or a wild act of penance.
The police haven't ruled out suicide.
Merely because the wound could have been self-inflicted. But how could a dying woman dispose of a weapon? And why on earth should she?
So the gun wasn't found?
If the experiment fails, as I've no doubt it will, and Overton escapes justice, the whole affair will become a public scandal. We shall all be involved. Fräulein Wieland will no doubt be charged with being an accessory after the fact. Your control of your staff will be severely criticized. Not to say anything about my own authority.
Oh, I'm sure you'll come out all right.
I intend to, in the interests of the organization.
Well, are you going to stay and watch?
Naturally.
Do you know Karl Merkheimer, the pathologist? He's here.
Karl Merkheimer? Here?
The police wanted an independent medical observer.
Why?
To make sure that Helen does everything she can to bring Frank back alive, I imagine.
Karl Merkheimer, of all people.
Oh, he's quite a nice chap.
I don't care what he's like. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry in this country knows his name and connects it with sensational criminal trials. This is getting worse and worse.
Things should start happening pretty fast now.
How soon can you tell if his brain is undamaged?
He'll be able to talk for a minute or two, and then he'll slip back into a sort of coma.
A coma. And how do you deal with that?
By stimulating the heart.
It'll be a bit tricky, that. Judging how much you give him is a difficulty, I would imagine.
Yes, I have to be careful not to overstimulate, or he might die of shock.
Would you say, then, that the final stage is the most critical?
In this case, yes.
This is Dr. Merkheimer. Sir Keith Vernon.
Oh, how do you do? What are these for?
Emergency use.
If he looks like passing out?
No, in case one of your lot comes over queer.
Martin, are you ready?
Coming, Doctor.
They will soon be opening up the coffin. Stick by the door and keep it quiet.
Can't I watch, sir?
That keen, aren't you?
Only scientifically minded, sir.
Sorry. You have a full house already. On the door, Green.
-1, standard pressure.
-1, standard pressure.
Thermomodulator, cut 50.
Thermomodulator, cut 50.
0.
0.
Switch on heart amplifier.
Switch on heart amplifier.
Give me the police vice president, please.
18.
18.
19.
19.
Cut diathermal generator.
Cut diathermal generator.
Now. Skin texture has returned already. We can help him on with some artificial respiration. The amplifier on?
Yes.
We'll start 600 cc and give him a pulse rate when you get one.
Pulse rate 40, rising. 48, 52, heart fibrillation, becoming even.
He's on the verge of consciousness now. We should know in a few moments whether he's normal. When I put him under, I asked him to stop counting at 12. If his brain is undamaged, it should pick up his last memory pattern, and he'll go on counting where he left off. Frank? It's me. Do you hear me?
Yes, Helen.
It's me. 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 can talk to Joan later. Just go on counting.
12, 13, 14, 15.
It was wonderful, Frank. Thank you. That's all you have to do.
Helen.
So you recognize me? That's a mercy.
Why? Didn't you want me to? I'm a very clever fellow. Walk the dog, play baseball, tiddlywinks.
You're wonderful, Frank. But now, relax, and let me do the rest.
Anything you say, Doctor.
Pulse rate 58. Blood pressure 90 to 70. Falling.
Electros.
Electrode.
Gloves. Electrodes. We'll start at 250. Time check every 30 seconds.
Start at 250. Time check every 30 seconds.
He's not out of the woods yet, is he?
No. Not yet.
4 minutes at 4:30. Pulse 62.
Step up complex C to 500.
Step up complex C to 500.
It's an open and shut case of murder.
Yes, sir. I took down his festivals as evidence.
We are going to need it.
4 minutes at 500. Pulse 64.
Cut off.
Repeat instructions.
Cut off.
The amplifier.
No, the heat.
And the heat?
Is he hit enough?
Yes, I'm not prepared to risk any more. Injection.
Pulse rate 56.
Stop that phone, Green.
Marty.
I didn't get it, sir. Don't do that, sir. You think it's me. Who is it? Der Polizeivizepräsident.
Hello? Yes, thanks, I will.
Pulse.
36.
What's happening?
No response to injection. Blood pressure still falling.
What the devil's gone wrong? Why don't you inject into the heart?
Sir Keith. The police vice president wants you, Inspector. Dr. Overton's wife shot herself accidentally. A witness has come forward.
don't need gloves. I'm going to jump the church up and down.
Contacts scorching. Contact scorching.
Frank? For a minute, I thought I'd lost you.
One year ago, those of us who knew Dr. Overton well never doubted for a moment that his motives in volunteering for this remarkable experiment were purely scientific. I, perhaps more than anyone else, am delighted and relieved that it was successful because of the heavy load of responsibility that falls on any commander
who encourages his crack troops to venture into no man's land. But it was a responsibility I was glad to take, etc., etc.
That old fakey did say that a year ago.
And good luck to him. Life would be a lot duller without the Sakiths of this world.